Well, it will have a really big impact. It will affect hundreds of thousands of families in the UK. The Teachers Union says 85% of schools in England will be closed or partially closed. Now, the country's education secretary is trying to tell families that there will be some child-minding facilities at all schools today, but you can understand the uncertainty in many parents' minds about what to do today with their children. Many parents said that they didn't know until just hours ago whether the school was going to be open or closed. Now, both teachers and the union would say these strikes could have been seen from a mile off. There's been a number of high-level discussions between the union and the government over pay. This is ultimately a pay dispute. Teachers at state schools are being offered a 5% pay rise. Now, they say in real terms that's a pay cut because of the inflation rate in the United Kingdom. Last year it reached as high as 11%. So there's been talks going on for some time already between the government, between the teachers' union. Will this strike action today lead to any real or substantial action? It's hard to say, but all signs really point to no at this point. We've seen strikes across the UK for weeks and months now about similar issues, pay rises that aren't in line with inflation. And the Sunak government is taking quite a strong line on this, that they just simply cannot afford to pay rises in line with inflation. So we've seen a number of strikes already from many other unions. It hasn't led to any deals being closed. So what will the impact of this be? Well, many families will be impacted. Teachers will certainly have their voices heard. This is across all papers, all news channels today here in the United Kingdom. But will it lead to a deal being struck between the teachers and the government? It's hard to say, but as I say, all signs point to no at this point.
Well, the teachers join a lot of other workers taking strike action on what's been dubbed Walkout Wednesday. Which other sectors are being affected?
That's right. So across the UK today, you've got train drivers, some train drivers, bus drivers, you've got tens of thousands of civil servants, you've got workers from border force agencies. So what's that going to look like? Well, it's going to be disruption not just in the school sector, but also for many people who are trying to commute, particularly transport to major airports. When you're walking around London this morning, there was a lot of people walking around with large suitcases, trying to find alternative routes, how to get to the airport. There is also expected to be some delays at some of those major ports, places that connect the UK to France. So there will be disruption across many industries today. It's being called Walkout Wednesday, as you say, but it's also thought to be one of the biggest industrial actions this country has seen in at least a decade.
Well, Isabella, what has the reaction been? How is everyone getting on with their daily lives at the moment? What have you heard?
There's a real sense of frustration amongst many people in the United Kingdom about the fact that these strikes don't seem to be going anywhere, and there seem to be more and more across many sectors. Earlier in the year, it was nurses, paramedics. Late last year, we had postal workers, and now all of these industries at the moment. In many of those industries, you get a sense that the COVID-19 pandemic has really added to the frustrations of many people in these professions, particularly amongst teachers and nurses. They were working under incredibly tough conditions for the duration of the pandemic, and now they are looking at a real terms pay cut. That's incredibly disappointing to them. Many people in these sectors say that their working conditions have gone backwards in recent times. So there's a sense of frustration certainly in those professions, but also in the UK, these strikes have become a talking point amongst many people, particularly the train strikes over recent months, which have caused huge disruptions, obviously make it very difficult for people to do simple things like go to work, to make it to doctor's appointments. So they are really affecting life in the UK in some parts.
Yes, a lot of people will be seeking answers from the Prime Minister at Prime Minister's Question Times in just a couple of hours from now. Isabella Higgins, thanks so much for updating us.